Stop just one cause of nasal allergy symptoms, Nasacort stops more. So no matter what kind of allergy day you're having, relief is yours with Nasacort.
It is impossible to keep effective control of cyber weapons. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if you build them, eventually you will lose them. They are just information. There's no barrier for them spreading across the world. They must be used on the internet.
Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks and the man accused of helping Russia hack the 2016 election, spoke from his hiding place in London on Thursday. He's holed up there to escape rape charges. About the wealth of alleged CIA surveillance documents that WikiLeaks published this week. Later that day, Trump friend and Brexit leader Nigel Farage visited the Ecuadorian embassy, where Assange has claimed asylum since 2012. BuzzFeed asked Farage as he was leaving the building what he was doing there. And at first he said he couldn't remember. Then, asked if he was visiting Assange, he said, quote, "I never discuss where I go or who I see." Unquote. Joining me now, former Clinton campaign senior strategist Joel Benenson, Malcolm Nance, executive director of the Terror Asymmetrics Project, and former FBI double agent Naveed Jamali. All right, let's start with you, Malcolm, on this. The CIA has issued a statement about this tranche of documents that was released by WikiLeaks, seemingly to undermine the agency. They said, "We have no comment on the authenticity of reported intelligence documents released by WikiLeaks or the status of any investigations into the source of the documents. It's also important to note that CIA is legally prohibited from conducting electronic surveillance targeting individuals here at home, including our fellow Americans, and CIA does not do so. The American public should be deeply troubled by any WikiLeaks disclosure designed to damage the intelligence community's ability to protect America against terrorists and other adversaries." So the truth of that statement from your point of view, Malcolm, is the CIA in the general routine business of using our cell phones and TVs to spy on Americans?
No, they're not. Absolutely not. And neither is the National Security Agency. And believe me, I know both these agencies. They just don't do it. It is a legal landmine, and if there is not a FISA warrant available on an American citizen as a target, you are hammered. I mean, even if with inadvertent exposure or accidental collection, we don't play games with American citizens. On the other hand, if you are a counterterrorism target, a counterintelligence target where we think you work for a foreign power and they get a warrant on you, then the entire process will come down on your head. So, you know, the key thing here is that everything that's done in the intelligence community comes down to a human being. We don't have time for the American public, and WikiLeaks is trying to stoke this paranoia. And the fun part about it is on behalf of Russian intelligence. So why should we believe a thing that this guy says? He steals documents, and then he goes out and he exposes them, and he just benefited ISIS and Al-Qaeda and everybody else who we could have been collecting against.
And, you know, Naveed, you and I have talked about this offline. I mean, there is this thing where WikiLeaks has managed to make themselves sort of heroic, not just to the far right now, which is newly the Sean Hannitys of the world now love WikiLeaks, but also for the longest time on the left, and sort of made themselves these sort of heroes of transparency. But talk a little bit about Julian Assange. Is he, number one, even a liberal, and is he an advocate of transparency, or is he an anti-American sort of an anarchist? What is he?
Yeah, that's a great question. And just to sort of piggyback on what Malcolm said, of course we don't capture intelligence on U.S. persons. But to your question about Assange, you know, look, Joy, these things have real impact. When you have these tools, when the CIA or the NSA has these tools, they're out there to collect legitimate intelligence. When you compromise those tools, you are effectively compromising current operations as well as past operations. That means that someone, whether it's ISIS or Al-Qaeda, can deflect, can build defenses against that. They can also go back and say, hey, look, the United States, we see that they use these tools, so we know it was the United States. So when you talk about Assange, and when you talk about what he just did, what he's done is essentially made those tools obsolete overnight. And what that means now is that when you have raids like in Yemen, where we had to send SEALs in to collect intelligence, you're not doing this safely from a skiff back in Langley. You now have to send human beings who put themselves at risk, who put other people at risk. This is perhaps one of the worst things that someone can do, and it just shows what kind of a person Assange is. And to glorify him and frankly Snowden, I think you can't look at that and say that, you know, and do that in full honesty and say that this is a benefit to America and to world safety. I don't know any other way to put it.
And you know, Joel, and it is sort of on the Snowden piece, I mean, what he took, ironically enough, or interestingly enough, wound up mostly benefiting China. China and Russia, interestingly enough, and then he ended up in Russia. So you now have WikiLeaks, which helped to bring down the campaign that you were just involved in, the Hillary Clinton campaign, which basically did a Watergate against you guys. Now going around as if it is some sort of hero for exposing, quote unquote, the CIA and offering to work with tech companies. What American tech company would be crazy enough to then form some sort of a compact with WikiLeaks to do business with them to protect themselves when they just did a Watergate on an American election on behalf of a foreign power?
I don't believe there's a single one that will work with WikiLeaks. Look, and I think the danger here is, as the other panelists here described, Julian Assange is not a good guy. He is not a good player. He has been in bed with the Russians. We know that. We believe that the Russians interfered with this elections. It isn't the Clinton campaign saying that. 17 intelligence agencies said that. That should be of concern to every American. It should be concern when he's meeting with people like Nigel Farage now. Are they going to now mess? Are they going to, Russians have a free hand to mess in UK elections, in the French and German elections coming up? These are our allies around the world. What he's doing is taking a set of tools that every intelligence agency, I'm not a cyber expert, but what you read is they all study what other players are doing. What tools are they developing? Because you want to make sure you don't fall behind. He publishes them out there for a lot of players who shouldn't have them now. And I think the consequences of that for every democratic country and election are really grave. And I think we're playing with fire here by encouraging this stuff in the name of full disclosure. Intelligence agencies shouldn't be covered under full disclosure. They have to work in secret. That's what protects us from some of the gravest threats we face.
Well, and of course, because the CIA has a history that is in some ways dark, right, that Americans have some reason to mistrust them. But the idea now that they're being undermined, that if it's the CIA, the American CIA, or the Russians, that we should be choosing the Russians is insane. You know, speaking of what Joel just said, Malcolm, you do already have UKIP in bed with WikiLeaks. They did just drive the UK out of the EU. You do have both WikiLeaks and Breitbart in Europe trying actively right now to impact elections, and they don't want to impact them toward the more pro-Western candidates. They want to impact them toward the nationalist, xenophobic Trump clones.
Right. Well, you know, I think it's fascinating that Nigel Farage went and met with Julian Assange, and you know he did. He doesn't go dropping into the Ecuadorian embassy, you know, for churros and tea. He was there meeting with him, and the question is, what kind of coordination is Farage doing now? Is he now messenger boy for Donald Trump? Is he now going to help coordinate WikiLeaks' exposure of Western allied democracies? You know, one thing that I can say about this, and I'm sure Mr. Farage and his English counterparts will take it on board, GCHQ is not, which is Britain's version of NSA, is not allowed to go after British citizens the way that American citizens are. But every other intelligence agency in the world now is going to put Nigel Farage under their microscope, their communications microscope, because he is now coordinating with an entity that has declassified or stolen intelligence documents all around the world. If he's talking to WikiLeaks and thinks that he's going to help engineer the fall of the German election or the French election or hasten the demise of England and the Brexit, well, you know, that's going to come out soon, too.
And then why, Naveed, is Julian Assange not in jail? Why isn't he in anyone's prison? Why is he still free?
Yeah, that's the reality, and this is when we talk about conspiracy and we talk about journalism and fake news. One of the things that drives me nuts, and frankly drives a lot of investigators nuts too, is the fact that this journalistic protection that we give a free press has been extended to Julian Assange. You know, he's not a journalist. He's not a blogger. He's you know, that's why he's free and out and not prosecuted.
Yeah, because he's sort of acting in the guise of a journalist, but he's clearly actively working to destabilize governments and getting away with it as of now. Thank you very much, Joel Benenson, Malcolm Nance, and Naveed Jamali. We'll have you guys all back. And coming up, the ACLU is training folks for the resistance, and Top Chef's Padma Lakshmi is there. Don't go anywhere.
John Lithgow talks about his new comedy.
Trial and Error is a travesty of real-life crime documentaries.
Where were you the night Margaret was murdered?
I went to get gardening supplies.
One shovel, one tarp, and let's throw in the ski mask.
Nobody knows whether I did the crimes, not even the cast.
Trial and Error premieres Tuesday on NBC. For the biggest guests, for the biggest questions.
Is this just a new way of looking at war?
For the Record with Greta, weeknights at 6 on MSNBC.
Are your allergies holding you back, or is it your allergy pills? Break through your allergies. Introducing Flonase Sensimist. More complete allergy relief in a gentle mist you may not even notice. Using unique Mist Pro technology, new Flonase Sensimist delivers